The Hurricanes and Rangers separated by only 2 points in the Metro Division during the regular season. Carolina played 2 fewer games than the Rangers, but Rangers won all 4 against Carolina in the regular season. And if you're Rod Brindamore, Joe, I guess you have to watch the bread and butter, right? Artemi Panarin, the bread, and Mika Zibanejad, the butter. 170 combined points from those two who will pace the Ranger offense.
Yeah, you know, John, both these teams can score. But I think if you were to ask the question, who are the 2 best forwards in this series, you'd say Zibanejad and Panarin. Not necessarily in that, whatever order you want. I think those are the 2 most dynamic players that have a chance to make a play that can change a series around. Now, that's not taking anything away from Carolina at all, because they've got, you know, Aho and Teravainen and Svechnikov, outstanding young, very good players. But to me, Panarin and Zibanejad are the best.
One thing that Carolina did, they've improved themselves. The trade deadline deal, getting Vinny Trocheck, gives them depth on the third line. That makes them scary. And, of course, they've got the great Stanley Cup champion in Justin Williams. All he does is find ways to win and become an MVP in the playoffs. And Jordan Staal is a Stanley Cup champion. So they've got a lot of valuable experience on that team, Valley.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, too, Sam, that Zibanejad, Strome, and Buchnevich have all had career highs in points against the Carolina Hurricanes over the course of their seasons in the regular season as far as opponents go. So you're talking about confidence that the players have against a particular team. Guys, I know that's important. You remember my success in Philadelphia. They used to call me the Philly Killer.
Well, remember conversely now, when you're talking about when Carolina has the puck, Joe, you mentioned the dynamic duo of Aho and Svechnikov. No Dougie Hamilton for the Hurricanes, probably at least the beginning, maybe the entire series. So that could certainly play in. But if you're the Rangers and you're trying to draw up a game plan to defend Carolina, start with you, Steve. What stands out the most about keeping them away from the net?
You know what's really tough about them, and this is one thing I admire about their game, is when they shoot the puck, guys, they shoot it a lot just in terms of a forechecking shot, not really to score. And you can see their wingers go to the corners quite frequently to recover the puck, and they have a longer view at offense when they're in the offensive zone. They're looking to break you down with a lot of shots, recovering the puck, and then as soon as a seam opens, their F3 dives down or their backside defenseman dives down, and then they make the cross-ice play. So it's a little bit unique and a little different than what you typically see in the NHL, but they're definitely a 5-man unit that has no positions in hockey when they're in the offensive zone. I think they're very impressive.
Well, I think, and even to take that a step further, Steve, the other thing that David Quinn and the coaches have really concentrated on and focused on with the players is to not allow Carolina to carry the puck over the blue line. They focused on these couple of weeks of standing up in the neutral zone, try to break plays up there and force them to shoot the puck in the zone as opposed to carry it. And I think that'll be a key part of the series as well.
Well, you touched on it before, Joe. Speed, speed, speed. It's going to be a great speed matchup. We watched the Rangers throughout practice, and everything was done fast. On the defensive end, getting the puck up to the forwards, flying down the ice. Their transition game was at high speed. So that's going to be a big factor. And I touched on it before, the Rangers' third line, a bunch of kids led by Philip Hedl and Capo Caco. Those guys have to produce. They have to find ways to score and add to the team, because you know that Carolina is going to try to shut down the Rangers' top 2 lines.
And youth is going to be a storyline in this series. The Rangers and Hurricanes, 2 of the 5 youngest teams in the league, and certainly in the postseason. All right, and then staring each other down from 200 feet away, the goaltending matchup. Peter Mrazek looks to get the start for the Hurricanes. 21 wins in the regular season, pretty decent goals against. But the goaltending situation was an issue against the Rangers in those 4 games, allowing 17 goals. And then meanwhile, what do you say about Igor Shesterkin, 10 wins and a 2.5 goals against in his young career, Steve?
Well, the one thing I looked at right now is just the pregame matchups and trying to look at a pre-scout. And one thing I saw with Mrazek, guys, and we've seen him enough, he's very competitive. He's one of the top goalies in the NHL on rebounds. He's one of the top goalies in the NHL on broken plays. He's never out of a save. That's the one thing that really kind of can shift momentum sometimes in a hockey game from a spectacular goalie. Now, on the other side, I don't think he's very technical, And the east to west pass, specifically when made below the hash marks, that's one that he has a lot of difficulty with. He actually ranked 31st in the NHL in save percentage in that particular shot type. The reason why I thought that was interesting was because the Rangers, they led the league in that shot type, and they scored a lot. They had 97 chances, best in the NHL. There's something there maybe. We might see that during the series.
It's interesting, Steve, you're talking about that, because Mrazek, over the course of the last year and a half, started seeing a sports psychologist because, and you've watched him play for the number of years that he's been in the league, he'd have a hot streak of a game or two, and then he'd have a terrible game or a terrible streak. And he couldn't find a way to get a consistency to his game. So he went out and hired a sports psychologist. They say that's helped him in that regard. But as Rod Brindamore, the coach, said, this is best of 5. If somebody's not playing well, you can't stay with them. And James Reimer actually had better numbers in the regular season than Mrazek did.
That's the big thing, Joe. Short series. For the Rangers, what do? Igor Shesterkin is a rookie. He's shown a great attitude on the ice. He's unflappable. Anything goes wrong doesn't bother him. He handles it. Great poise. Now, how will he handle his first NHL Stanley Cup playoffs? But of course, if something goes wrong, if he has a bad game, the great Henrik Lundqvist is behind him with the great experience, the great record against Carolina. So the Rangers are set up very well, but all eyes on Shesterkin and how he handles his first Stanley Cup playoff.